Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. I decided for some reason to go over and explore to see how far these roadworks actually extended for from the complete other side of them, and yeah, turns out they went on for a bit longer. I was going to try and film myself over them, actually, but it's a very tight squeeze and there were like tons of people actually there, so I think I made the right call by just waiting a little bit until I was at slightly more of an opening. But yeah, this is a new area. I don't think I've filmed over here before, actually. It's not a new area, but it's new for Walking Wednesday purposes. You know what I mean. Apologies as well if my eyes seem a bit like squinty or bloodshot. Honestly, I've been trying to catch up on sleep, and I have been catching up, but I know they still feel irritated for some reason. So yeah, that's been a thing for, I don't know, since yesterday really. I thought getting a good night's sleep was going to really actually do well, and a good night's sleep, and dare I say a good morning sleep as well. But no, apparently not. Not sure what that's all about. But yeah, here I am. So yeah, once again, you can imagine, fairly busy week. We actually got our first set of actors to direct this time. And yeah, that was definitely fun. I think everyone, well, I mean, our tutor said that everyone planned really well, just considering how buzzing we were after the event. And we went to the bar and talked about it. And, but yeah, it didn't go fully as planned. But that was actually part of it, you know, solving a problem that emerges and all of that. So yeah, my first session, actually, I was supposed to have two groups with two female actors, so I decided to pick the same script extract for both of them. Partly because one of them is in my assessment group, and I wanted to choose something from that play for that particular assessment group. I said assessment group too many times. Anyway, so I did that, and essentially, oh, there's too much glare there. So I did that, and I decided to do a thing where I played two bits of music. It was Minuetto by Boccherini, and then it was Murdered Soul Suspect by Dan Ball, the instrumental version. Which, yeah, two very contrasting ones, but that's kind of the point. I wanted to go for internal and external characterization of these people who live in a world of gossip and rumours, but also try to exude such elegance and poise. It makes sense if you read the play. It's been no doubt about, by the way. But yeah, it turns out some people actually knew of it. I think one person had studied it or something, and I know afterwards there was one of the directors actually yesterday who picked up on a lot of stuff just from the extract alone. Like, she said she felt like she was back in English literature again, which is extra fitting because I studied that play in Spanish class. But yeah, similar enough. I am glad to some extent, because I was trying to test the actors to see if they actually were able to really, what they were able to make out of a translated piece of text, because I translated part of it myself, because it was kind of not the best translated at first when I found it online. So I checked back with the Spanish version and then just like cross-referenced it, and then made a couple of alterations here and there. Because there's some stuff where, you know, it's mostly dialect things. Because, yeah, no one's really properly able to emphasize dialect really unless you've actually really worked on it, or you've been in the country, and I have. So, yeah, that's what happened. Anywho, back to the session. Yeah, it turns out I got them to do my improvisation. Well, not my improvisation, but you know, the one that I kind of started people doing in the director's groups, because now it seems a lot of people are using that, just getting them to improvise a scene, but like the actual scene from the script before they get their lines. Which took us up to about half the way through the session before I actually gave them the script at all. I explained the context of the play by then, but that was it. I think one of the directors also gave them some like 2 lines actually to start the scene off, which I actually like even more than what I've been doing with people. Just because, you know, it has that extra accuracy, because sometimes it can fly off the deep end. Actors make choices, but they also make informed choices, you know? Either way, the group that I did then was they adopted the 2 personalities of the women in the scene without really even intending to, so casting was actually pretty easy for them, or for me to do to them, you know. I'm sorry, I seem to have stumbled across, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buses all at once. I'm kind of surprised. I feel like I'm back in Madrid again, actually. Because there's a lot of them, or at least there used to be. I think they kind of cut down after La Crisis and whatever, but yeah, there used to be quite a lot of buses, all from like the same kind of like 3 numbers. Because so if you miss one of them, you kind of had to just wait like a couple of minutes or something. It was a good system, unlike what I'm employing now, which is just, you know, avoid most roads as much as possible, but then end up on a different road. I really don't know anymore. I tried. Apparently this is not a good route for Walking Wednesday. You know, live and learn. I think I actually did come down this way a couple of years ago when I was doing complaining about like the Buttercorp disaster, you know, the one where somebody like hacked into someone else's account and had to like fire a bunch of people all at the same time because they were all like supporting and egging each other on. I just like destroyed the server. Not the Buttercorp server, the Butter Nation server, which still exists to this day, but we don't do anything on it. I think I might just delete that server because I'm trying to start a new community one, but have it just be for the Musing Girl. Because, I don't know, just one thing I want to try and do. Because, again, everyone else seems to have adopted that style since you know, after Buttercorp was a thing, and it seems to be working out in terms of, you know, having a production team and a community team where you can run auditions and such. I haven't even done that on GLVA yet. I should have really opened that because no one's actually auditioning for like any of the backup roles or anything. There's some people in my classes that are like, hey, if you want some people to audition for you, you know, just ask me, you know. If you need so and so, then here I am. To which I replied to them, I posted the auditions like 2 days ago. Where are you all? I don't know. Then again, they're not used to Discord yet. That's the thing. Because yeah, I tried to post this on Facebook as well, just to see if like people from, you know, from my uni or whatever would try and apply, but yeah, no responses on that front. At least none that I've seen. We've been getting a few on Discord, but not really that many. Like, not even from the actual VAs of the series. Which just kind of shows you why we need backups, because they're not able to respond that quickly, so kind of doesn't help. Like, I will say, particularly we're looking for backups for Geneva. I think that's the main one, because I think we've got almost everyone else for the episode. I mean, we did audition for Olivia, so that's another thing. I think it's just those two. And then some people wonder why I don't have Geneva that often in episodes. Because yeah, guess what? Caroline's vanished again. Well, not quite vanished. I did talk to her yesterday, but yeah, it seems like something else is going on that I'm not getting ready to be opened up in, so can't really help, and therefore she can't really help me, so here we are again, you know. Same song, different stanza, I guess. Not really chorus. But yeah, I don't know. So if anything, people are wondering about backups and such, well, go for all the ones you want, but also go for Geneva, because we kind of need Geneva for the next episode, just saying. Because yeah, I think that's it. We've got Raina in. Oh yeah, we also need Julius too, but yeah, I haven't talked to people about that. Because yeah, Aiden's been very adamant about auditioning for Julius, and he's getting the voice, but it still like takes a lot of actual like effort, and sometimes he slips out of it mid-sentence. So I'm not really as confident as I should be with that. Like every 5 seconds I'll have to do the same line to get back into character again. It's like that's going to take up when you're trying to actually be in character, you know? So yeah, I'm going to talk to Gilead again, because I noticed why I got him for Julius at first was actually because he kind of sounds like a bit like Anthony when he was talking normally. But last episode, he just put on a voice. That's the thing. I got him because he sounded one way, and then he decided to sound like something else. But I was so desperate to put the episode out that I just couldn't wait any longer. Like you gotta understand, it's just sometimes when you get to a certain point when you're trying to produce an episode, you're just like, just get everything. I don't care anymore. Like that, you know. Not that I don't care anymore, but I need to, like, you know, meet people halfway. Much like this traffic on one side, I'm going to meet halfway by going under here. So yeah, slowly but surely I'll be able to stand up again. Like now. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I don't know. I guess it's going to echo more if people start trying to zoom past me, but it should be alright. Anyway, so yeah, second director session, going back to what I was saying before, was definitely far, far worse, but not as bad as it could be. And not because it was the actor's fault. Well, it was an actor's fault for not being there, but I know. Apparently she got food poisoning, which we found out later on. So, you know, I'm not going to be too mad, obviously, because that happens, you know? So yeah, I only found out after the session, so I was wondering where she was. But the other actress was there. Unfortunately, the improvisations, that activity that I tend to do doesn't work when another person like has the context, has read the play, and knows where the scene is going. Because otherwise, you're just trying to like regurgitate exactly the characterization of one of the characters, and then you can't really emphasize it. So what we ended up doing was swapping roles a lot, to see which one she was actually better at. And it turns out the one that I was doing the improvisation was actually the one that she was better at. So you know what? I'm glad I did that. I then had to actually step out of the scene a bunch of times to actually observe what was going on, whilst at the same time reciting the lines from elsewhere. So I don't know exactly how well that was going to turn out, but apparently both the sessions I ended up performing in front of someone. Like there was one person who came in like towards the end of our first session, and then there was a lot of other groups that were in the studio for the second one, where to share the space, so they all just kind of observed this actress later on. So yeah, that was so, you know, silver lining, I guess. So yeah, then after the weekend, you know, we went, there was a session yesterday for directors and such, and that was mostly just going through the extras we'd chosen for our actual assessment, which apparently we need to actually, if we want them changed, we should have them sent in by next week. I've still got to test if people are actually going to be able to cope with classical literature, well, not classical literature, but classical theatre, you know. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to have to make a very split-second decision if I want to change my extract or not. Because the tutor's still very hesitant about that idea that I had. And don't get me wrong, I understand, but he's then going on about how in this uni we don't really train classical actors in that sense. So yeah, whereas I've been in a few Shakespeare plays in the past, and also have studied it in literature and everything, and so I'm at least a little bit more familiar with that particular guy, you know, his style and such, and also the play that I've chosen. But because I'm going to deal with actors that aren't trained in that, that's going to kind of be a bit difficult. It's also going to be difficult because the tutor said, oh yeah, we the stuff that we tend to select usually it's like very modern dialogue, very urban, has slang and such. It's like, well, yes, but you know who can't relate to that kind of stuff? Me. I don't know what to do when that happens. That's why some of the extras that we got chosen, you know, I was drawn more to the one with all the corporate dialogue, because at least I can somewhat relate to that, and I can actually think of how I would, you know, direct such a piece, you know, which is what happened, and I did. But yeah, I'm the one who gets you know, told a lot of the time to, like, you know, try and change my accent and such. Kind of like a role reversal from what you expect from actors back in the 90s and before. Lots of the very trained British actors that you see all the time, you know, those, like, you know, the ones with, like, the title thespians and all that stuff, you know, like Sir Ian McKellen and Dame Judi Dench, you know, Dame Helen Mirren, Maggie Smith, blah, 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 Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, you know, all of those people from that era. Like, a lot of them had very different accents, but they were kind of trained to have this very, very, like, very pronounced RP. Like, not even just what I sound like, just actually even further than that. Trying to emphasize every single word and make yourself sound like this, very slow and deliberate, but always with a sense of calmness and control of the voice. You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, nowadays it's all about, it's usually about embracing your own accent, which, in this case, in terms of directing so far, has not really happened for me. So, yeah, I'm glad that I've been doing, doing as much voice acting as I have, and I've been, you know, learning by myself how to change my accent to certain things, but not something that distinctive. Like, for example, I had to do, they charged me to do a Mancunian accent at one point, and one of the actual people from my group was from Manchester, so I was like, can we please not, you know? Because I've been in that situation before where someone's like, oh, hey, what accent are you trying to do? And it's, meanwhile, they have the accent you were trying to emulate. That's why I never specify anymore when I'm doing voice acting, because someone's bound to point out some inaccuracy if you do. Might be a bit of a safety blanket, but that's what I do for that stuff, at least. As for the stuff in class, yeah, that's a bit different. Anyway, which brings me last but not least to the presentation stuff that we also did on that day. Only now have they finally acknowledged the fact that they're going to, like, in the next session we have with that tutor, the next seminar, we're going to discuss our ideas for a presentation. Why are we doing that now? It's been 4 weeks of lessons, and don't get me wrong, everything has been useful so far, but it feels like we should have covered, like, aspects of, like, confidence and material and delivery in the first 2 weeks, not the first 4. And we actually got to perform this poem today, yesterday, you know, Desiderata, which actually I liked, and I was the first one to actually get up and do, like, the whole thing. But guess what? We had people like, you know, bow down and like actually and close their eyes while it was happening. We just did an entire lecture about eye contact, and then they decided, oh yeah, let's have people perform with their eyes closed. I don't understand. And those seminars are done by tutors every 2 weeks. So we will have spent 6 weeks during a session, like nearly 2 months, about learning about presentations without actually developing our ideas for presentations that they requested us to think about during the summer. Well, not kind of, didn't we do it request us during the summer, but they had a reading list. Lots of the stuff that we covered was in the reading list. So why do we spend the last 4 weeks catching up to the stuff that we've already read? I really just don't understand that. But yeah, I had to do that before I wrapped up because I realized that I'm running out of time. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it right now. Hopefully next time I'll actually be able to talk about these kind of things on what's gonna happen for week 5. I don't even remember anymore. We'll see. I gotta think about some Shakespeare extracts and stuff, because I might get the only chance to test this stuff out. I will not get a second time, because then I have to make a decision finally, even though I made that over the sun once again. I don't know. So yeah, please leave a like, audio section really matters, and subscribe to us already. And you know, keep auditioning for backup roles in the music girl. If you're watching this from my uni and you haven't heard me specifically, that's because I made a video for everyone. That's what happens on my channel. So yeah, follow that. If you don't have Discord, then just, you know, send me that stuff on Facebook, I guess. I don't know, or WhatsApp, whatever you can do. Just get those in, and I'll put them in a folder. You know, I'm somewhat flexible. But yeah, on that note, until next time, farewell.